Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and I'm in Ogden, Utah. And in this video, I'm going to take you on a short tour through the Union Station Train Railroad Museum. And then I'm going to take you out to Promontory Point, which is a bit west of here, where the last spike was driven to complete the railroad transcontinental east-west. So hope this video interests you. Stick with me and we'll find out. And in this huge building where I'm at, this complex, there are actually 4 different museums, as it shows here. Here we have one of the old steam engines and 2 cabooses. And here's an unusual railroad car. And here are 5 more engines that they have outside. This is that first one on the left. That's a steam engine. This is a diesel, which is this one. And this one is another diesel. As well are these 2. And what kind of amazes me about this one is its diesel tank, 24,384 gallons. 65 miles per hour it can go. Wow. Now I don't know how this would work, but this car, see what it says on there? Salt Lake 2002 Olympic torch relay. Interesting. They have a lot of cars back here. I'm not going to go through them. And this is near downtown Ogden at the Union Station Depot, which obviously is not used anymore. They've got gates blocking the track there. And there's also a lot of displays inside, which I'm going to go to. Well, this is the inside of the Union Station. Huge ceiling there. And for only $5, you actually get admission to 3 museums that are in the building here, plus the trains outside. And one of those museums is the Utah Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. It's a really small one, but let's go in and take a look. Got some important people here. Several saddles. I'm not much into cowboy stuff, but if you ever get to Fort Worth, Texas, they have a cowgirl museum that I was at a couple years ago, which is really interesting. There's some chaps. Some of these things are under glass. This says Miss Rodeo America. Well, that's it. It's just this small room. So this is the main attraction. Here's a history of the depot. Now this Lucian cutoff is important. After they completed the railroad, totally transcontinental, which is just north of the Great Salt Lake, they discontinued using it and they built this railroad right across the lake, which for various reasons the railroads preferred. And they also had a problem getting water for their steam engines going across the desert. So this is the original route of the railway. It went across the top of the Salt Lake to Promontory Summit, then continued over into California, and then later the Lucian cutoff just went straight across the lake here. It was shorter, and there were other reasons why it worked out better for them. And inside this safe is the actual golden spike that they keep away from people. This is Mr. Pullman, who created the first sleeping cars and dining cars. And General Motors created the dome cars for tourists. If you wonder why you don't see cabooses anymore, here's the full explanation. Well, that was a short train. Upstairs they have the Browning Firearm Museum, and here they have some miniature models of real guns. This longest one is about 1.5 feet. There's a Gatling. I'm just going to very briefly go through here. I've been to several firearms museums around the country, and you see hundreds and hundreds of guns. In my opinion, it gets pretty boring pretty quickly. You've got a history here of the Browning Company, if you're really interested. Another problem is that a lot of their stuff, especially here, is under glass, so it makes for a terrible video with the reflections. I've never gone quail hunting, but I know how this feels. These automatic shotguns might be interesting. They hold 5 rounds. And if you're really in the guns, then you would really like this. I'm really not so much. I have had a couple rifles in my life, and I currently have a pistol, but I haven't done any actual hunting since I was a kid and did that with my father. Here's a good motto. Well, folks, that's all I'm going to video here. So now I'm off to Promontory Point, Golden State National Historic Site. This is Promontory Point, Utah, and the Golden Spike National Historic Site. You got a couple of these boards with some of the history about it. And this is the main rail here, and that is the other rail that is used for cross traffic. And they have all those benches there for certain times when they have ceremonies at certain times of the year. This is where the final spike was driven to complete the railroad transcontinental east to west. The Southern Pacific Railroad set up this monument of the last spike driven to complete the railway. It withered away, and now they have restored it. May 10, 1869 was the date. Here's a little bit of history. This one has this footbridge across it.
For a few safety precautions, you stay 15 feet away from the tracks of the locomotive while it's operating. So a good visual view of that is the
And during the ceremony, they ceremoniously just put them in there, and then they had a silver, like a special silver spike maul that they just like tapped into place. Because even with just tapping them, they didn't want to distort them because they're really malleable. There are marks on the spike just from tapping it. So after that, they took out the tie and they put in a regular tie, and then they had the actual iron spike was driven, and it was supposed to be driven by Stanford and Durant, but they both missed when they tried to actually drive the last iron spike in, and a regular railroad worker did.
Here's some more info on it. And that is the visitor center for this. By the way, this railroad is not used for regular commercial train traffic anymore. They built a new rail across the Great Salt Lake that the railroads liked a lot better. So that's what they use now. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my video of the Railroad Museum and the Golden Spike National Historic Site. Good day, folks.